You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Hardening has one overarching goal: reduce the attack surface and contain risk during runtime. Every computer system, whether server, workstation, or embedded device, offers pathways that can be exploited if left unchecked. The attack surface is the total collection of these pathways, ranging from open ports to running services to unused software libraries. By stripping away what is unnecessary and configuring what remains with care, we effectively shrink that surface. At the same time, runtime protections ensure that if an attacker does gain a foothold, their ability to cause harm is contained. Hardening, then, is both preventative and protective, working before and during execution to strengthen overall resilience. The concept of least functionality directly supports this goal. Least functionality means running only the daemons, services, and packages strictly required for the system's intended purpose. For example, a web server does not need an email daemon, a print service, or a desktop environment. Each extra feature not only consumes resources but also increases exposure. Attackers often scan for forgotten or unused services, exploiting them precisely because administrators do not monitor them closely. Removing unnecessary functionality ensures the system does only what it is meant to do, reducing clutter and eliminating many hidden vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. Kernel and operating system parameter tuning adds another layer of refinement. Modern systems allow administrators to adjust low-level behaviors, such as how memory is allocated, how network packets are processed, and how user privileges interact with processes. Tools like sysctl in Unix-like systems provide these controls, and applying secure defaults prevents many classes of attacks. For instance, disabling IP forwarding on a host that should never route traffic ensures it cannot be misused as a pivot point. Restricting shared memory settings can prevent one process from spying on another. These tuning steps often seem minor, but collectively they close off entire categories of exploitation attempts. Storage practices are equally central to hardening. Using encrypted volumes ensures that data at rest is protected even if drives are stolen or improperly decommissioned. Access-limited mount points enforce that only authorized processes or users can interact with specific storage areas. For instance, system log directories might be mounted with restrictions that prevent executable files from running there, reducing the chance of log tampering or malware hiding in plain sight. Encryption paired with careful mounting provides both confidentiality and integrity, ensuring that sensitive data is not only hidden from unauthorized eyes, but also shielded from unauthorized modification. Another modern approach is adopting the principle of immutable infrastructure. Instead of treating servers or hosts as long-lived pets that are constantly patched and adjusted, immutable systems are redeployed fresh from a hardened template whenever changes are needed. This practice drastically reduces configuration drift, where systems slowly diverge from their intended state due to small, undocumented changes. If something breaks, the system is not repaired in place but replaced entirely with a new, known good version. Immutable infrastructure enforces consistency, accelerates recovery, and eliminates many of the lingering weaknesses that creep into long-running machines. Account policies remain one of the most visible aspects of hardening. Strong password and credential rules, lockout mechanisms, and multi-factor authentication for administrative accounts are all vital. Default settings are rarely sufficient. Attackers can brute force or guess weak passwords with astonishing speed, and without lockout controls, they can try indefinitely. Multi-factor authentication adds a second line of defense, ensuring that stolen passwords alone are not enough. By applying these controls, especially to privileged accounts, administrators create a steep barrier for intruders. Accounts are the front door to every system, and account policies determine how sturdy that door is. Secure logging configuration turns activity into evidence. Hardening here involves defining exactly what to log authentication attempts, configuration changes, access to sensitive files, and ensuring logs are stored with integrity. Logs should not be modifiable by the very accounts they are recording, and retention policies should ensure records remain available long enough for audits and investigations. Without well-designed logging, administrators are effectively blind, unable to know whether a system has been tampered with. Hardening the logging process transforms raw system events into trustworthy telemetry that supports detection, analysis, and response when incidents occur. Firewalls at the host level extend these protections to network interactions. Configuring them with a default deny stance for inbound traffic ensures that only explicitly allowed connections can reach the system. A web server might allow HTTPS traffic but block everything else. This approach turns the firewall into a bouncer, admitting only recognized and approved guests. Too often, administrators leave unnecessary ports exposed, just in case. Hardened firewalls close those ports by default, leaving no accidental openings. This narrow focus dramatically reduces the opportunities available to an attacker who is scanning for weaknesses across the network. Application allow lists provide another protective measure by controlling what software can execute. Rather than trying to block all malicious code, a nearly impossible task allow lists only permit known, trusted binaries to run. This flips the burden in favor of defenders. If malware finds its way onto the system, it cannot execute because it is not on the allow list. While this approach requires careful management to avoid interrupting legitimate work, it is one of the most effective ways to stop unknown threats. It enforces a principle of positive control. Only what is approved gets to run. Compliance scanning ensures that hardening is not just an intention but a measurable reality. Tools can compare a system's configuration against established benchmarks such as the Center for Internet Security (CIS) guidelines or vendor-specific best practices. Regular scans highlight drift, missing patches, or insecure settings that have crept back in. These results provide not only technical insight but also documentation for audits, showing that the organization is actively verifying its defenses. Hardening without validation can create a false sense of security, while scanning grounds the process in objective evidence. Controlled local configuration changes help maintain order. In practice, administrators sometimes need to adjust a setting directly on a machine, but without process, these changes become invisible sources of drift. Hardening includes establishing a clear workflow. Changes are documented, reviewed, and recorded so that the system's state remains transparent. This discipline prevents ad hoc tweaks from weakening defenses over time. It also ensures consistency when multiple administrators are involved, reducing the chance that one person's change inadvertently undoes another's security measure. Hardening thrives on predictability, and predictable processes begin with controlled changes. Hardening in this second phase emphasizes operationalizing and validating protections. It is not enough to lock down a system once. Those controls must persist reliably under real-world conditions. Each of these practices, from allow list to compliance scans, reinforces the principle that systems are living assets. They must be kept in shape through monitoring, validation, and disciplined change management. By focusing on operational practices, this phase of hardening ensures that security is not just a snapshot in time, but an enduring quality of the environment. In this way, hardened systems evolve without losing their defensive posture. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Centralized management of host settings provides a foundation for keeping systems consistently hardened across large environments. Instead of configuring each machine manually, organizations use configuration management tools that enforce policies and desired states at scale. These tools continuously check that a system's settings match the approved baseline and automatically correct deviations when they appear. This approach replaces error-prone manual work with automation, ensuring that every server, regardless of who built it or when, conforms to the same secure blueprint. Centralized management not only improves efficiency, but also reduces the chance that a single misconfigured host becomes an easy target for attackers. Alerting on baseline deviations extends this process by ensuring administrators are aware when a system drifts away from its expected state. Automated reconciliation may fix the issue immediately, but visibility matters too. If settings change unexpectedly, it could indicate human error, or it could signal malicious activity. For example, if firewall rules on a host are altered without authorization, that deviation should trigger both a correction and an alert to investigate why the change occurred. Hardening is about control, and alerting ensures deviations are not quietly corrected and forgotten, but properly reviewed for underlying causes. Runtime integrity checks strengthen defenses further by monitoring files and core system functions while the machine is operating. File integrity monitoring tools track whether important files such as system binaries or configuration documents are altered, while kernel-level checks verify that operating system functions remain unmodified. If unexpected changes appear, administrators are alerted immediately. This is similar to having a security guard constantly watching over critical doors to ensure no one tampers with the locks. Without runtime integrity checks, compromises may go unnoticed until attackers have already gained significant control of the system. Containers and virtual machine images require their own hardening approach. Just as servers should start from minimal installations, container and VM images should be built from the smallest, most secure base possible. Build pipelines that scan images for vulnerabilities before deployment. Add an additional safeguard. By ensuring images begin life in a hardened state, organizations prevent insecure defaults from multiplying across environments. A single vulnerable image can spawn hundreds of weak instances. Image hardening shifts protection left, baking security into the creation process, rather than trying to apply it after the fact. Credential vault integration is also essential for protecting sensitive accounts and secrets. Service accounts, API keys, and database credentials should never be stored in plain text files or embedded in code. Instead, secure vaults store these secrets and inject them into applications only when needed. This limits exposure and ensures credentials can be rotated regularly without disrupting operations. Without vault integration, organizations risk attackers harvesting hard-coded passwords from repositories or system files, leading to widespread compromise. Vaults make secret handling disciplined and automated, aligning with the broader principle of reducing unnecessary risk wherever possible. Host segmentation applies the principle of isolation to management. By separating the management plane onto dedicated, isolated networks, organizations prevent administrative traffic from mingling with user or production data flows. This reduces opportunities for attackers to intercept or tamper with management sessions. Isolated administration networks also simplify monitoring, since traffic should only consist of specific, approved protocols. Segmentation reflects the hardening philosophy by ensuring that even if one area is compromised, others remain insulated. It turns the environment into compartments rather than a single open space, making it far harder for attackers to move freely once inside. Secure patching workflows are another operational safeguard. Hardening requires that systems remain current, but applying patches carelessly can cause downtime. A secure workflow stages rollouts in controlled phases, beginning with test systems and then moving to production. Administrators monitor for unexpected behavior before continuing deployment. This balance ensures vulnerabilities are fixed quickly while minimizing the chance of introducing instability. The patching process itself becomes hardened, designed to protect both security and availability. When combined with automation, these workflows deliver timely updates without overwhelming administrators or disrupting business operations. Forensic readiness prepares systems to provide usable evidence in the event of an incident. This means ensuring hosts are configured to collect detailed local logs, transfer them securely to central repositories, and preserve them in a way that maintains integrity. Without this preparation, investigators may find themselves piecing together partial records or missing key details. Forensic readiness does not assume a breach will occur, but acknowledges the possibility and ensures systems are prepared to answer critical questions. Hardened systems are not only resistant to compromise, but also equipped to reveal what happened if defenses fail. Rehardening periodically is essential because systems and their dependencies evolve over time. New software is installed, old software is retired, and patches change the underlying environment. These shifts can slowly erode the protections originally put in place. Rehardening refreshes the system against the latest benchmarks and security practices, closing gaps that may have appeared since the last effort. Just as cars need periodic tune-ups to remain reliable, systems need regular hardening cycles to remain secure. It is not a matter of distrust in the original work, but recognition that change is constant in technology. Metrics allow organizations to measure the effectiveness of their hardening efforts. Compliance coverage shows how many systems meet defined baselines. Drift rate highlights how often systems deviate from expectations. Tracking completed remediations shows whether issues are being addressed promptly or left unresolved. These metrics transform hardening from a static checklist into a living process with performance indicators. Leaders can see where attention is needed most, while administrators gain feedback on the impact of their daily work. Without metrics, progress is anecdotal. With them, security becomes visible, measurable, and subject to continuous improvement. Operational playbooks ensure that when hardening failures occur, teams know exactly how to respond. If a compliance scan reveals dozens of systems with disabled firewalls, the playbook specifies steps for remediation, validation, and reporting. By rehearsing these responses in advance, organizations reduce downtime and confusion. Playbooks turn lessons learned into repeatable actions, strengthening resilience with every cycle. Hardening is not just about preventing weaknesses, but about equipping teams to react efficiently when weaknesses are uncovered. In this way, the operational response becomes as much a part of hardening as the initial configuration work. Ultimately, hardening is not a project with an endpoint, but a continuous cycle of enforcement, monitoring, adjustment, and repetition. Each stage reinforces the others. Centralized management enforces baselines, alerting identifies deviations, rehardening closes new gaps, and metrics track progress. When treated as an ongoing discipline, hardening ensures that systems remain trustworthy, even as threats evolve and technology shifts. It embodies the principle that security is never finished, but must be woven into the fabric of everyday operations, continually refreshed and relentlessly maintained for long-term resilience. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.